guys, this is my game Hollow Knight 2. It is a simple 2D platform game. Son of a bit, take two. So I'm going to try and attempt to go down this without dying. Oh my god, that was close. Where was I? It's a simple 2D platform game where simple functions just go left and right. You can jump to other platforms. Other feature is the ability to climb ladders. You can't attack. I haven't put that in. Originally because it was going to be a stealth game, but I ended up having to change the gameplay to adapt to problems I was having with the visions of the game. So here's the Knight controller. This is to move the player. Here we've got the already defined input controls that are defined in Unity. So we're using the horizontal input, which are these already defined inputs. So for A and D are for moving left and right. We've also using and here's the code to flip the sprite if it's moving in a negative or positive direction. Here we've got the jump code, and we're also defining if we are in the air and not touching the ground. And here we've got for when we are touching the ground, so we can't jump multiple times in the air. And here's the code for running the animations. And here we've got another piece of code that if we were to fall off this part of the level, it will trigger a game over sequence. And here's the code for the enemy movement. We've just gave it a regular walking speed. And here we have got the code to flip the sprite. So basically what it's doing is the enemy sprite here will collide with one of these, which has got a box collider on it. And when it does, it's going to flip in the opposite direction and start moving in a negative speed. And it should do that back and forth each time. Here is the enemy collision script. This is going to happen whenever the player collides with the enemy, and that happens down here. So if the player is to collide with anything with the tag enemy attached to it, first of all it's going to disable the enemy movement, the player movement, and then it will bring up the game over interface and also trigger the death animation as well. Here we've got the script for climbing the ladder. I was originally going to use the same method as the moving the player, where we'd use the already defined inputs in Unity, but it didn't work at first. So I just used the same style of coding as from the tutorial I looked at, where they were just using the W and S key. So you're just using once the player collides with the box that's attached to the ladder, it'll allow the player to press W and to climb the ladder, and also to press the S button and you'll descend down the ladder. So here we've got the script for the camera. I did have it as a child attached to the player at first, but what would happen is if I was to flip the sprite round, it would also flip the whole map round as well. So I ended up just making a separate script for it, where I've just the camera will just focus on the player's position. And I found this nice tutorial online where it gave it this nice smoothness when it would track the player as well. Just give it this nice cool and more natural effect. Also what we're doing is we are clamping the camera in place so that up here we've got some positions, some values, sorry. So here we've got the maximum and minimum values that the camera can go into. And I just got these from getting the values of taking the border of the camera and just moving it to the edges of the level where I didn't want it to go, and just put them in there. So in this script called the Game Manager, I've got two functions here. I've got a level complete, which triggers the level complete user interface, and a game over function as well. So the game over function happens when, go to enemy collision, when the player collides with the enemy, it's going to find that game over function here, and that will trigger the game over interface to appear as well. And same with the level complete. Once the player reaches the end goal, it will trigger this function, which references this, and that will bring up the user interface for the level complete as well. So when the player collides with an enemy, like so, it triggers the game over interface to come up, and it gives you two options to retry or return to the main menu. So retry that. Here's the script for it. To retry the level, all it's doing is loading the currently active scene. And to return to the main menu, it is loading the previous scene in the build index, which I've only got the two scenes in it at the moment, the main menu and the first level. So I can just use -1 and it will just load back to the main menu. And here's the script for the main menu. It's only got two functions in it as well. The start game, which just loads the next scene from the build index, and the quit game function is just simply quit the application. So originally this was supposed to be a don't die, oh my god. So originally this was supposed to be stealth based. We were originally going to use raycasts to have the enemy detect you, and if you got caught by the enemy then it would be game over. However, we were having issues with the raycast also flipping in the X direction. Basically it would face the same direction all the time, so we ended up not being able to fix it, and we just decided to have it, if you collide with the enemy, you just got this game over function here. With the with the colliders that the enemy used to turn around, the player also hits those colliders. With the colliders that the enemy used to turn around, we couldn't get the player to pass through them without the enemy also passing through them as well. So what we had to do was we just shrunk the box collider down to a point where the player could just walk over it, and but the enemy would still hit the collider and turn around as well. We tried fixing it, but to no avail. So we just ended up compromising and shrinking down the box collider. God damn it.